What is going on, Jet fans? Matt O'Leary back with another video. Today I'm reacting to a topic that was on the Athletic Football Show. Essentially what they did is they went through both the AFC and NFC and looked at situations on the offensive side of the ball. So it's taking out quarterback and looking at the play caller, running backs, wide receiver, tight ends, and offensive line, and essentially saying which quarterbacks are in the best situations. And the Athletic Football Show is really down on the New York Jets. In their findings, the Jets have the worst supporting cast in the AFC. And today we're going to find out, is that crazy or not? Now, they mention that the Jets wide receiver room is incredibly weak outside of Garrett Wilson. It's a first-time play caller. They're down on the interior of the Jets offensive line, which is something that I don't agree with. Watching the Jets every single week, I think the interior of their offensive line is actually pretty good, but I will not debate whether, or not there's questions for the New York Jets from wide receiver 2 to 4, or if there's unknowns at the tight end position and potentially play caller as well, because, well, there's a lot of new with this New York Jets team. But I wanted to kind of go through and see where I had each one. This was their rankings. I'll go from worst to best, so 16 all the way up to 1. Jets at 16, Patriots 15, Browns 14, Titans 13, Texans 12, Chargers 11, Steelers 10, Jags 9, Dolphins 8, Raiders 7, Colts 6, Chiefs 5, Bills 4, Broncos 3, Bengals 2, and the Baltimore Ravens number 1. Now, my rankings look a little bit different, and I'll show you how I came to my rankings, and then you let me know if you would do things differently, where you rank these guys. And again, this is all subjective, so you might have your very own rankings, which is fine. Let me know in the comments below. So what I did was, in the AFC, I went through and take a look at the play caller, the running back room, top 4 wide receivers, the tight end room, the top 2 guys, and the starting offensive line, and gave each one of those things a ranking. I averaged them out and then ordered it from there. So looking at the play callers, in my opinion, Andy Reid's the best play caller. And then you have, Sean Payton and Todd Monken towards the top, Kevin Stefanski, Joe Brady. Those are kind of rounding out the top 5. I put Engstrand 14. I did not put him last. The reason, for that is I don't think Arthur Smith has done a good job over the last 5 years, pretty much since 2021. So he's a known commodity, but not a very good known commodity. And I also put Nick Caley below Tanner Engstrand. Everyone else I put above. I didn't really know where to put Chip Kelly, because there's some things that you could like about him offensively, but it's been a while since he's been in the NFL. So I put him at 12. But moral of the story, you could put these guys in whatever order you want. I think Engstrand, can he be 16? Because we don't know. Sure. I bumped him up a little bit at 14, but I think there's even a chance that he could rise up this list if he proves it. Looking at the running back room, I had the Jets at 6th in the AFC, so towards the top, the teams in front of them. I put the Ravens, the Bills, I put the Raiders, I put the Chargers, and then I put the Colts with having Jonathan Taylor there. I think is going to skew that a little bit. I think the Jets and the Dolphins are really close. If you flip-flop that, I'm not going to, crush you on it. But I'm looking at teams that they had pretty significantly in front of the New York Jets. The Steelers, I had them at 13. I had the Titans at 9. I had the Patriots at 10. The Browns, I put at 16. They might be the worst situation in the NFL. Wide receiver room, I had the Jets at 13. I had a few teams below them. And my reasoning is, while yes, 2 through 4 isn't great, I think Garrett Wilson at this point is a better number 1 wide receiver than Diggs and Judy and DK Metcalf, who I had all in behind the Jets. I think I also think Garrett's better than, Calvin Ridley, but I like their number 2 in Tyler Lockett more so than I like Josh Reynolds and Allen Lazard. To me, at the top, it's pretty obvious, right? You have the Bengals at 1. I have the Dolphins at 2. I think, the Texans have a really good wide receiver core there at 3 for me. and the Jaguars adding Travis Hunter to already having Brian Thomas Jr. should make that a pretty formidable situation. I ranked the Jets tight ends last, just really more so because of how much of an unknown Mason Taylor is. My expectation, I think he's going to be okay in year one, like a middle of the pack tight end, and maybe that helps them rise up the boards a little bit. But the AFC has a lot of strong tight end rooms. I mean, I put Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer 1, Andrews and Likely 2, Knox and Kincaid, and then you have Kelsey and Gray and Smith and Brown, and and Njoku is great with Fannin. It's tough for me to rank it all that much higher. If you wanted to put the Jets maybe at the highest 14, I could see maybe, but outside of that, I think you're looking at maybe the Titans, and that's about it for who could jump them. Maybe the Jaguars as well. I don't think you could really argue too much higher than over the Jaguars at having them at 14 and then putting the Jags and the Titans behind the Jets. But I went with 16 on this one just because, again, a lot of unknown. Jeremy Ruckert wasn't very good last year. Offensive line rankings. So I had the Jets 5th. I think the best offensive line in the AFC right now is probably, I have the Broncos, Chargers, Ravens at 3, the Bills at 4, and then the Jets at 5, obviously, from there. I think there's a lot of potential. They could potentially rise up this list. But looking again at teams who are ranked in front of them, like the Browns, I have at 14. The Steelers are 7, which is okay, roughly middle of the pack. The Dolphins 13. Looking at it, it's not a great. The teams that were listed in front of them, the Titans, the Browns, tough for me to put them in front of where the Jets are offensive line wise. So I then averaged those up, and to me, I got in order from 16 all the way up to 1. The Steelers with the worst, Titans, Jets at 14, Patriots 13, Browns 12, Jags 11. I have the Bengals at 10. Now their wide receiver room might skew that a little bit. They were number 2 on their list. I put the Browns 9, Chargers 8, Texans 7, 6 for the Raiders, 5 for the Colts, 4 for the Dolphins, 3 for the Chiefs, 2 for the Bills, and 1 being the Baltimore Ravens. I don't really have an issue, especially with the top 2. I think the Bills and Ravens should be towards the top. For me, where I'd maybe make my changes, I think you can make an argument for the Jets over the Pats and the Browns, right, at 13 and 12. I think the Jets should be probably where I have them at 14. I think 12 to 14 is fair. 16, I think, is too low. And we're splitting hairs, right? It's not like I have the Jets numbered 3 and they have them 16. So I don't think it's crazy egregious, but I think they're sleeping on the Jets offensive line in particular. And I have the Jets wide receivers maybe ranked a little bit higher than where they would, because I think Garrett as a number 1 holds a little bit more weight to me. But my opinion, I think they're really banking on play callers a lot, because they have the play caller and offensive line. The Broncos are pretty high up on their list, even though I don't think the wide receiver room and tight end room is all that great. Now, running back, I also don't think is that great, but they have a great play caller and great offensive line. So while I have them closer to middle of the pack, they have them as one of the top teams, which is fair. It's really more so about how much weight you put into each one. I weighted them kind of evenly, but if you're weighting, play caller significantly more, then I could see why maybe your rankings look a little bit different. But I would have the Jets at 14. I don't think it's the worst situation in the league. I agree that Pittsburgh and Tennessee, I would say, are worse. And I think you can make a case for the Jets being in front of both the Patriots and the Browns for situations. The Browns have a stud tight end and a really good play caller, so I think that weighs it. And then you also have the Pats, who running back room's better, play callers established, even though I didn't have him as a great ranking, and kind of just average or okay across the board. So you let me know what you think. Where would you have the Jets? I think 14's fair. Anywhere between 12 to 14, I think is fair. 16, I think is too low. And anything higher than 12, I think is too optimistic. But let me know your thoughts. I'm Matt O'Leary, and I'll catch you next time.